Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cyclone. Welcome to Train Sim World 3. I know I've done a couple videos in Train Sim World 2. They were typically ride-along type videos, and I thought, you know what, it's time to finally play some Train Sim World 3 because there's a really good route that came out. I've been wanting to get in here and show it to you, and I now finally, a little bit late, and we'll talk about this later. I want to do it on Friday, but I'm finally in here and I'm able to show it to you, signing into my Dovetail Live. As you can see, I'm listing as level 1 up here, but that's because I haven't really played TSW3 yet, and I didn't really copy anything over from TSW2. I'm basically starting fresh, which maybe that was a dumb idea, but that's what I'm doing, because I want to show you stuff fresh as it happens and show you achievements and stuff like that as well. So we're going to do all that. We're going to see some achievements popping up on the run here today as well, as I do things for the first time on these various trains officially in my gameplay. I do have a practice profile, but I haven't really played this route on that profile yet either because I just haven't had time. We're not going to talk about that. But anyway, let's go ahead and go into the new route I want to show you today. You can see, by the way, we have a train depot. We can pick our routes, and we can go and do rail journeys, which I'm going to check out at some point. I actually want to do that for this route and some other routes, but I'm not going to do that at a later time. Quick play, I don't care. So we're going to choose a route. We're going to find the route which is called the Niddertalbahn. And I've been following the reviews on Steam. Very first day, 29 reviews, all positive. This route has not really had... There might be an odd negative comment in the reviews, but a lot of the feedback I've seen on this route has been very high. Very positive. And as a result, I see no reason not to check this out as the first route I show you on this channel. There is a 62 train timetable, which we can see. We can go on foot. We can go into the 628, which has a number of trains on it, or we can go to the 365. So there are services that we can do on these on the timetable under these trains. What I want to do is show you the scenarios. So I'm going to go back in. We're going to go to scenarios. You can see there are 5 scenarios on here. We're going to go ahead and do these shorter ones. A, because I'm late getting videos to you. We'll talk about that later. And B, because, well, this one I already am aware is a full service of the line. We're going to have to do all stops. You can tell being an hour 5, it takes about 50, 55, 60 minutes to do the entire line. Being an hour 5, there must be something else going on in here. So normally I would do this because it's a 2 difficulty scenario. But as you can see, it looks like it takes a little longer. It says level crossing trouble awaits. So it looks like it will take a little bit longer because of trouble with the level crossings. We'll look into that in the future. I see Sugar Beets, which is the longest scenario, the 373 Sugar Beets. I've seen some hypotheses in the chat rooms that the 373 means something about possibly getting a 373. I don't know about that. I can't confirm that. I'm not going to go on the commentary about that, but I've seen comments all over the place about 373. Maybe we are. I don't know. I can't tell you. It's not something I'm aware of. But it's a very good theory, the fact this 373 is showing up. Why would it be specifically 373 Sugar Beets? It's a good question. I don't know. I haven't actually asked about that. And Glimpse in the Future looks like it's something to do with an evil ghost having possessed the route. That actually is interesting. And prep work, we're going to be setting up a train for service. Today we're going to do the Hugging Trees scenario. So the first scenario we're going to do is indeed that 3 difficulty Hugging Trees. I'm going to make the next scenario I do prep work because it is, again, a 3 difficulty, similar difficulty. I want to save Glimpse into the Future for last if possible, only because it is, well, apparently spooky. Best way to put it. And I've already seen things about the Hugging Trees scenario. I already know what's going to happen. I'm not going to spoil it for you. We're going to play it as if it is fresh. And I haven't seen anything about it. So that's what we're going to do. And then, of course, these other scenarios we're going to get to as we get to them. So let's get started on this and see what we can get into here. If I can actually start. I probably should say getting started, shouldn't I? Let's do that. Good morning, driver. It's a very wet and unhappy day, but we will still have to bring the commuters to Frankfurt. Well, that's a darn shame. I thought they were going to walk. So we're going to wait for the message to pop away, and then I'll go ahead and start moving around. This is the first time I'm really taking you around the Train Sim World 3 area. That is the train, indeed, that I expected we were going to be getting on. There's another one over there, obviously, but we're not going to be getting on that one. So this is the tree. This is the... I'm already thinking about trees. There you go. So we're going to be hopping on this train here. It says Altenstadt. So I guess we're stopping at Altenstadt. Is that what's going to happen here? We're going to find out. So we're going to open the door. We're going to get on board. And we're going to go ahead and... there may be some motion blur on my screen here. I'm not actually seeing motion blur on my screen, but it might be transitioning to video. I apologize for that. I don't have settings off to prevent that right now. Oh, I opened a door. Yay. I got points for opening a door. 15 points. Yay, I'm still level 1. So we're going to sit in the cab. We're going to go ahead and move the... Well, we're going to do this. So the engines are now completely on. We have to put the reverser in. Now, it's worth pointing out that you need to put the reverser in before you actually try to move it. Because if you don't do things in the correct order, what can happen is you can sometimes lock the control desk. And I've learned that this can happen in this scenario. So I'm going to try to show you very, very carefully how you can avoid that as we go here, as we get to that point in the scenario. So we're going to go ahead and insert the reverser. It is now in. We're going to move it forward. We're going to move to, I think we have to turn the end. Nope, brake key. I thought the engine was going to be next, but nope. We're going to cut it in. If I can get it selected. Move to cut in. Thank you very much. We're going to release that. That is done. I've now gained more points. And we're going to go ahead and position ourselves up here because what I'm going to be doing is moving the brake key, or the power rather, to on. Power is now on. I can now move the train to Stockheim. Platform number 1. We are at the north, well, I should say at the eastern end of the route. Oh, let's turn the wipers on while we're here. Probably a good idea. Hey, I used the windshield wipers. Yay. Let's make sure I don't speed. That's a good step to ensure. Now, there is no specific timetable. You can see there's no clock for time we have to arrive by. So I'm going to just take my time. That marker you see on the platform is for this scenario, interestingly enough. So that's where you basically spawn for this scenario around that point. And that is what that marker is. There's another one further on for a different scenario that starts at this station as well. So let's go ahead and get the train prepared for a stop. While I'm doing that, let's get the headlights on. So they are now on. I've used the headlights. Points. Going to put a minimal brake application on. Bring some power down here. I'm going to coast the train in. Try to get a perfect stop if I can. Easier to do it on these than on the timetables, but still notoriously hard. It is still difficult to nail those spots completely for a perfect score. And I'm not going to try to get a perfect score. If I'm a few points off, big deal. We still get a gold medal. So, as long as I don't butcher it. So I've been finding that when I practice this, that the marker has to be behind you when you come to a stop, but you can't let it go too far behind you. So I actually want to come to it and come to about 2 meters away, let it pass me. And as I do that, that's when I want to stop. So I'm trying to stop now, and it actually says 500. I did well enough on that. So let's open the doors by using the door mechanic I'm highlighting under the speedometer right now on the desk. We're going to move that 1 notch over to unlock right side doors. That's the point at which we can now turn around if we want to and see passengers boarding the train. But I'm going to keep forward. So what I'm going to do for the purpose of this journey is just provide minimal commentary. I'm going to go ahead and let you enjoy the scenery as we go here. And we'll talk more about my own schedule later. That's something I want to talk about later and think more about what I want to talk about on that. As you know, this video is coming a little bit late. I normally publish Friday, Saturday, Tuesday at a minimum. I was unfortunately not here all day on Friday, and I was not here all day on Thursday, and I was not here all day on Wednesday. So basically, any opportunity I had, even if I were to have the ambassador access I kind of crave having one day, I couldn't do it. I wasn't here for any of the days that anyone was able to do anything with this. As a result, I only showed up today, and I'm trying to get this video out today, and hopefully it all is scheduled and up for today. I'm going to start closing doors now because you can close them a second or two early, I found. It will still complete the task. And you can now proceed to Glauberg platform number 1. So leaving Stockheim, our next stop will be Glauberg. I'm waiting for the signal to change. It should change at some point here, and we should be able to go. There it is. So I'm going to move the throttle up a little more. I have also at one time practicing this scenario seen some wheel slip. So I now know how wheel slip occurs in these trains, which is a good thing to know about. If you see some kind of red icon around the speed that you're going, then it means you're getting wheel slip. Basically what that means. So you can see the crossing is down. We are able to use this crossing normally. There is a crossing signal, which I'm going to point out as we get going here. I'm going to lower my speed for right now, or my throttle, because I do have to get ready for a speed limit later on, but for right now I need to maintain no higher than 40. I will be moving up to 60, which is our line speed limit. We will not be going faster than 60 at any point. I'm not getting too much speed on this downhill, so we are... Oh, I'm going to put a little minimum brake application on just to be safe. And I'm going to let that off immediately. That should do the job for me. There's the speed limit increase. I took off more speed than I intended. Oops. I didn't mean to decrease there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave the throttle at 55 for now. My goal is to stay around within the 5 miles under the speed limit as much as I can. If I am under that, I have to increase by my own rule, unless I'm coming to a station and need to stop. Or need to stop, I should say. If you're wondering, those P signs mean that we should be blowing our horn, and you saw that white flashing light. That white flashing light signifies that the crossing is active, and we are able to proceed safely without any traffic on the crossing. You can see it is down. So I'm applying some brakes right now to get our speed down. I'm coming in a lot faster than I intend to be, so I'm going to put a heavier brake application on right now. I did not want to come in this fast at all. This will not be a perfect stop, guys. Might overshoot slightly, in fact. Yeah, I'm going to be a little past on this one. We'll accept it. 490. Oh, I was way past. They did not like that one at all. Okay. So we are now opening our doors at Glauberg. And that is our first stop on the journey today. Leaving Glauberg, our next stop will be Lindheim. Altenstadt Lindheim is the full name of the station. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic and allow you to just enjoy this commentary free for a moment here. As you can see, a 40-mile-per-hour indicator has come up on the screen in the upper right, underneath our indication of a green signal. The crossing we're about to approach is active. I have not been blowing the horn. That is on me. You can actually see one of the buildings that is used to activate the crossings as we cross there. So this is a crossing that can apparently break down as part of gameplay. My understanding is that this can happen randomly in service mode, though in regular scenarios like what I'm driving here, I believe it is a fixed thing whether it happens or not. It is not something that can randomly happen. But it can happen in service mode. You have to watch for it in service mode. Coming a little slower this time to make the stop appropriately. I'm ready to move to a minimal brake application to bring it down to a stop. That will do. And there's 500 points. So that's how you can do a perfect stop on these scenarios. Let's open the doors. And we have arrived at Lindbergh. Those of you observant may have noticed I made a mistake. I referred to the station as Lindbergh. It's actually Lindheim. Oops. So again, it was Altenstadt, Lindheim, the full name of the station we stopped at. We're now on our way to our next stop at Altenstadt, Hess. Now keep in mind this is an earlier era of the route, so it may be that back then it was just referred to as Lindheim. Today it is Altenstadt, Lindheim. So you may have noticed that I slowed down to 40 way too early. That was not intended. I wanted a little brake application to avoid breaking the speed limit. But the brakes just took me right down to 40, and I decided since I had that coming up anyway, I'm just going to stick with it. So I'm going to meet that 40 speed limit with absolutely no problems here. You notice I am lagging from time to time too. I'm going to cut out some of the lag in some of the areas where I'm being quiet, which is why I'm trying to be quiet, in part. But for right now, we're going to worry about making our stop here. That's the more important detail. I'm coming in again a little faster than I wanted to, so I'm going to put a heavier brake on. And I think that's going to be about perfect. Oh, come on. 1 point. Well, that's a shame. Anyway, arrival at Altenstadt, Hess. Leaving Altenstadt, Hess. Our next stop is Höchst, Nidder. And I guarantee you I'm saying Höchst incorrectly. I apologize for that. Though I do have some German ancestry, I am not fluent in how some of these names are said. Educated guesses, sure, but I don't know all of them. One of our scenarios will be starting here at Altenstadt, Hess, by the way. You can see the scenario icon over there. We'll get to that later. You can see there is a red signal up ahead. We'll explain that later. That is actually not at the platform. Starting to sound like my computer might be having some temporary performance issues. I just had a sudden cut in the audio there that you might have heard on the recording. I've also had a much longer leg spike than I've ever had on this route before. These trees appear to be encroaching on the ballast a little bit. That's I like the foliage in the route. It's a beautiful aspect, but some of it does encroach on the tracks just a wee bit here. Not quite at my stop point yet, so I'm increasing my throttle to to slow the braking a little bit and keep a little power going. There we go. That's what I want to see. Good enough. We'll just crawl forward to the stop point here a little bit. I did not want to stop yet. That was a mistake. And it's going to count as a stop. So we're going to put the brakes back on. Didn't get the full points for the stop. Oh well. Doors are open on the left side. So we're going to move the notch a little further over this time to open the left side doors here at our next stop. We have not been given any specific task here, so I'm going to presume that we are to proceed as indicated at this point because we have not received any conflicting information. So we're going to proceed up to our speed limit. We have a red signal ahead. I'm going to assume that, for now, that resets itself as we approach. Let's see what happens here. You know how the dispatcher in this game works. I've lowered my speed and amid some lag to compensate for the fact that we're approaching our speed limit. In fact, we're on a heavy downhill, so I'm going to put a small brake application on and release it. I'm waiting for that red to clear itself. We're going to see what happens here. That turned red. That is concerning me. What is going on here? Uh-oh. Oh, no! A tree! Emergency! And as you can see, an emergency brake automatically applied. So we are now in a position where we're not able to move at all, no matter what we do. So we can't do anything to take this out into movement for right now. Our job is a very simple one. If we can zoom in for a second, you can see there's a halo up there. I think we have to walk up to the tree. What do you think, guys? Let's go and take a look at this tree as I move around carefully. I'll leave the train as it is for now. And had a little lag there. So let's check the cab. Oh, there's no one in there. That's a shame. No one's having this enjoying this with me. Apparently my skills as a driver is known to people. They're not getting on my train. I believe this means there's a station up ahead. I believe that's something to do with the station or maybe a crossing. I have to double check the manual, but it is in the manual. This route does have a nice manual, by the way. Inspect tree. Yep, we have to inspect the tree. I would say that is definitely a tree. That is most definitively a tree with leaves. And we can't get anything through this, including ourselves. Now, if we were to go over here and try to walk around it, I'm sure that's possible. Oh, maybe not. Oh, no, we can walk by the tree. We can actually walk by the tree in another mode and actually look at our train from this side of the tree. If we want to bail on our train and head down the track, we can do so. Just tell everyone at the station we're not coming. But we're going to go ahead and get back on the other side of the tree. We're at the map limit here. We can't go beyond that portion. So that's where nothing is modeled, obviously. Now, you can actually turn off the train and do the steps here before inspecting the tree, I'm pretty sure. It's just for the purpose of following the steps. We're going to go ahead and keep it open. We're going to go ahead and do things normally. So let's sit down for a moment. We're going to go ahead and turn this off. We're going to go ahead and put this... Actually, it was supposed to go off, so leave it off. Thank you. Reverser needs to go to off. Notice we have not been instructed to remove the brake key or the reverser. Let's go ahead and make sure we do that because those are proper things to do. That means we also have to cut out the brakes. We're going to do that. Nope, get the brake key out. Thank you. And we're back over to the reverser. Reverser needs to be removed. It is removed. I will now stand up. Oh, let's sit down for a second, turn the other things off that I used. I used the headlights, so we're going to turn this back to tail lights. We're going to turn the wipers off. Good enough. And we're going to get up and we're going to leave it there. So out of this cab we go. Let's close this door. We're going to hop out of the train. Since these doors don't like to be closed by any push over, you can see my white indicator here. I can't really close these doors, so I'm going to push the button to close it and then hop out of the train while it closes. And there it goes. So the door is now closed. Again, apologies if you're seeing any movement lag or blur. I don't have that disabled yet, so there may be some blur as I move from cab to cab. And also a little lag there that I also experienced. So we will deal with that. Let's open the door. Was that a bird? We're going to close this door because we're going to need this. Now here is where you can break the scenario. I'm not going to do it, but you can actually move the reverser forward without setting the reverser handle in. If you do that and then pull it back, the reverser will be permanently locked. Do not do this. So I'm going to put the handle in properly. Now I will move the reverser forward. I'm going to turn the power switch on. Notice again, we're not asked to insert the brake key. And this is a very crucial one. If you do not insert the brake key, and I've done this, if you do not insert the brake key, what will happen is you will release the brake as instructed. You will not be able to set the brake to bring the train to a stop. Now, because my reverser should work, I might be able to take the reverser down to reverse and slow the train down, but I'm not going to be able to apply the brakes to keep it standing still as the final stop is completed. And that could put you through a red signal depending on a red hill, or on a hill near a signal where you stop. So you want to make sure you put the brake key in properly or you're going to have problems. Similarly, you want to cut in the brake before actually releasing it. Notice the cutoff has now appeared. I will cut in the brakes. Now I can release the brakes and everything should work completely properly. So we're going to go ahead and we don't have any pickup here because we're obviously stopped for a train. So we're going to go ahead and release the brake. Oh, we already released the brakes. I said that already. And see if we can get some movement. There we go. Didn't want to apply too much to get moving because we're on a hill. But I'm sure if you wanted to let the train do so, you could probably let the train back into the tree if you don't do it properly. Anyway, we're on our way back. So what we're doing is we're taking these passengers to Altenstadt, including the ones we just picked up at the station we're going to pass. We're going to take them all to a replacement bus service that will be happening at Altenstadt, Hess, and they're going to continue their journey to Bad Vilbel from that location via bus and wherever else they need to go along the route. I'm sure it goes by all locations along the way for those needing to make other stops. So the bus service will complete this service, and we're going to assume that services are canceled for the night on the train tracks, and that buses just handle the services from this section because that tree is going to be there for the night, I think. I don't think that's going to be cleared overnight. So I will now minimize my commentary again. We can enjoy this drive back to Altenstadt, Hess. As we approach Altenstadt, Hess, you're going to notice I didn't turn the headlights or the wipers on. Little oversight on my part. I'm sure I'd be chastised for that if I didn't do it in real life. Also notice our stop is fairly close to the red signal, about 18 meters away, I believe, something in that range. So I'm going to make sure I bring the train down appropriately to make a stop at an appropriate speed. That'll do nicely. 499. Oh well, what can you do? So we're gonna open the doors on the left this time because the passenger platform is now on the left, and this will end this scenario. So after I can get the trains open to the right, I'm gonna try that again because it's not. There we go, left side. Let's close the right side doors, shall we? That was a strange. I'm sure you can go on both sides, but we're gonna just use the left one. So let's look at the train very quickly as we finish this. And I'm going to set up a lovely view for you. We're just going to do this live. So here we are. This is our train. We're going to turn the HUD off. And that's the end of this scenario. So I didn't bother to shut the train down. I probably will need to do that. So yeah, I'm going to have to shut the train down. I just realized we have to do that anyway. And that's where the scenario is going to end. So here's our final view for the scenario. And we're going to shut the train down in a moment when the door closure is completed. But that's our first scenario. We're going to come back and do the prep work scenario next time, another half-hour scenario. I may not edit all of the leg out of this scenario, and I apologize for that. I am under a time crunch after all. But I will try to get the worst offending leg out of this video so you can at least enjoy, to some aspect, a good run. There are a couple spots that were really bad. And of course, I'm cutting out for some views as well. So let's get back in the train and see if we can complete our service now. We are now allowed to... Whoopsie, didn't mean to do that. We're now allowed to lock the doors. So that's now going to happen. I'm going to be able to turn the engines off in a second, I believe. By the way, if you push the T key, you can actually get a task list and see everything you need to do. In fact, I don't even need to turn the train off. So we are all done here. So that's the end of the scenario. And good job, driver. The passengers will be brought home safely from here with a bus replacement service, which I already knew because I spoiled that. The signal will not change. We will get our scoring screen. There it is. And all I did was overshoot a stop or two or come a meter short in some cases. I do think it's being a little tight with the stop placement because it wants you to literally hit a needle in a haystack in some ways. To a certain aspect, if you know how the stop works and where you need to put the icon on each stop, you can get a perfect score consistently every time. But it takes some experience. It takes knowing how to do the task appropriately to be able to get that kind of stop accuracy every single time. So notice, for example, Stockheim, I had a 1.23 meter accuracy. On Glauberg, I had a 6.80, which I know I overshot that one badly. But then for Lindheim, I had 1.36. Altenstadt, I was apparently 2.15 off. 3.91 at Höchst. I believe I tried to brake a little and unfortunately hit the brakes a little early, I think, to make that stop. So that's why I was off on that one. And then 2.14 on Altenstadt Hess. So it tells you how close you are, what your actual time is between the stops, it looks like, or something along that line. I'm not sure exactly what the actual means by the 503, 508. I'm assuming that means time used to get to that stop. So I'm assuming that's a time aspect. My presumption. I don't know 100% because I'm still new to this game. And I've driven 14.6 kilometers, which does go towards your tally for driving this train. You do get tallies for driving certain trains, possibly all trains, I don't know. It does show I took 39:30 to play the entire scenario, so it was 39 minutes on my part because I came a little slow at times. It's estimated as a half hour. And I had to walk to look at the tree and get on the train, so I walked 407 meters. You can walk the entire route if you want to in free mode. But in any case, there's our stats. I got my gold medal. And that's it. So I'll see you next time for the prep work scenario. That will be next. I'm Cyclone. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this. Hit the bell if you want to know when I post something. That's, of course, after subscribing because I think those go together. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.